especially with something like VRCDN, it's such a crucial thing. And at any point, I could shut it down. Clue could shut it down. 24 could shut it down. We can, it's like it's like a missile. 3 keys are needed to kind of turn it off, kind of thing.
Welcome to the Metaverse Degen. I'm lying. Oh.
I'm Old Man Raptor, and we got one hell of a guest today, and it is.
I'm Jazzy. Hi.
Oh, thank you very much for joining us. It's an absolute pleasure.
No worries.
Yes.
Happy to be here.
Oh, so what is it you're known here in this virtual world for? And
I'm known for existing mainly. But I also made VRCDN.
Oh my God! I'm here to exist, and God damn it, Mom! I hope you enjoy this shit.
Whoa,
Okay, keep going.
Oh, how many years? I've been in here 8 years now. For the past 8 years, because I've been busy working on different projects. And instead of going, yeah, I'm all good, or yeah, I'm doing it, just like, yeah, I exist. I'm sleep deprived, but I exist. Hi.
Oh boy.
Oh. So, what pulled you into the VR space to begin with?
So I actually got a Oculus Dev Kit V1 back in the day. Because at the time I was studying game development, and I was like, VR sounds cool. Let's get a dev kit, which was, my laptop at the time couldn't run it. I couldn't do a whole lot with it, and it hurt my brain. And it kind of sat on a shelf for a while. But when the HTC Vive came out, I managed to get my hands on one. And, we did the whole NVIDIA, what was it? It was like a tech demo thing, like a circus. They had these cool thing. But that was kind of it. And it just sat on a shelf for a while until I was like, there's got to be something that I can use this 500-pound paperweight for. And then I found VRChat, and that's how I got in.
Oh, so what pulled you into VRChat in the beginning when you were looking for the reason to use it?
There's nothing else on the VR headset at the time. We had Fruit Ninja, which was cool, but there's only so many times you can play Fruit Ninja. So I think the thing that got me as well was like there was a lot of SEO worlds. I'm a big SEO fan back in the day. And being able to be fully immersed in a world that I thought I can be fully immersed in, because you see it 2D on a screen all the time. It was really cool to me, and I really enjoyed it, and I just enjoy wandering around. And then, 8 years later, and I'm still doing it.
Whoa! So what keeps on bringing you back to VRChat 8 years later?
Oh, good question. Other than the fact that VRCDN consumes all of my life now, I still enjoy going to what like this world. It's things you can't do in real life. And you can do everything from like if you have a stressful day at work, you come to a place like this. If you want to go socialize, you have the Black Cat, the Great Pug. We have all these events as well. Like, you don't get that in real life, and I can do it all sat in my really comfy chair, which I also can't do in real life.
So you mentioned VRCDN controls or is most of your time. How did you get involved with VRCDN?
In 2018, I used to DJ. I still do a little bit. I used to DJ in here. And this is predating having stream players. So we didn't have Twitch. Stream players in well, we didn't have YouTube, we didn't have anything like that. And you'd literally go to a club like Rave Robbie or DDVR. Excuse me. And the DJ would be in the middle of the room just mic spamming. And full body was still new, everything was still, shiny new, and you'd have these rooms of full body people dancing to this mic down DJ. And it was great, because the great thing about voice communication is that it's real time. You get that real time interaction between the DJ and the crowd. And when Twitch players came along, everyone was like, yay, high quality audio, and I was like, yay, 30-second delay. Which, as a DJ, it made a huge disconnect, because I'd do a drop and then I'd sit there waiting for the room to hear it, to gauge their reaction, see if I'm, they're vibing with me, if I need to switch it up, then whatever. And like, I'd literally just sit there like that, staring at my screen, waiting for it to come through. And I was like, there has to be a better way. And then it would have been 2020 or 19, late 2020, October. I finally had a working version of VRCDN with the 1 second streaming delay. So we had the high quality audio of streaming and the low latency benefits of mic spam. But like, not Mike Spam.
Wow, so you developed VRCDN, if I'm understanding that correctly.
Yes, I am the original creator of VRCDN.
Wow. Back in the day when you
Ooh.
officially developed VRCDN, what was VRChat's response to it?
A lot of people were skeptical because they were like, we have Twitch players, we have Twitch, why would we use something else that's not proven, it's not tested? And I myself was calling it duct tape and dreams because it was held together with duct tape and dreams. But it wasn't until October 2020, this small festival called Slyfest, you've probably never heard of it, they were having issues with Twitch. So they were like, oh, can we use this new fandangled VRCDN thing? And I'm like, it might not work, but sure. And thankfully it ran flawlessly. And since then, people went, oh, actually, we should take note of this. And it's kind of evolved and exploded since then.
Oh, yeah, from a lot of the people we've talked to in terms of the DJing or clubbing scene, VRCDN is one of the many things they talk about in terms of what they use to run clubs. That's quite the impressive feat for you and the VRCDN team.
Yeah, it's been a wild ride, I won't lie. Especially in the early days when we first started gaining popularity, it was still just me. And although, I'm not, I won't say I'm a genius at all things tech, but I do have a very strong technical background. I used to be in the MMO scene for a while. I was a data center technical lead for a while, a global data center chain. Like, I have knowledge. But, there's a lot of pressure when suddenly an entire community is relying on you to do a thing. So in the early days, there was many sleepless nights. But thankfully, I managed to amass a team. We have Clue and 24 who really stepped up, to be honest, to fill in the gaps in my knowledge. And between the three of us, I think we've done something really impressive, if I do say so myself. It's not very often you have three people on zero budget build a global distribution network. We're not Amazon, we're not Google, we're not, this is just the three of us. But I think, it's thanks to the community backing us as well, because obviously with the Patreon, it allowed us to invest in new servers, in new regions, and gave us money to do testing, and really develop this as far as we can. And although, we still have a long way to go, we're definitely a lot further than I thought it would ever be.
So did you expect to be where you are with VRCDN when you started?
No, not at all. Because as I said, the community was like, why do we need to swap from what we already have? It works now. And it just felt like brick wall after brick wall. And, to be fair, I was happy just running it on my own. So when I DJ'd, it was, only me using it. Some of it was even running from my apartment on Raspberry Pis. It was very small scale and I was happy with that. But yeah, I never expected it to be like... Oh, actually, sorry. I remember the first time someone did a IRL, like mixed reality event on VRCDN, and on the laptop, on the camera view, there was our control pad. And I was like, I wrote that. That's cool. That's in some other country somewhere. Like, I don't know. It still amazes me how big this thing has grown. Like, it really is insane to me, and I think it's the same feeling for the team as well. Because I don't think any of us expected it to be as big as it's gone.
What was it like in the beginning when people started using it? What kinds of things have you learned since then, and how did you start adapting to the global use?
We learned that American internet connection is garbage. It may as well be spaghetti. We learned
That ain't no shit.
We learned that sharks love to eat undersea cables, which is even more of a nightmare that we didn't think we needed to know about, but we do. Honestly, we learned a lot. It's not only obviously from a global distribution perspective, but obviously from a technical perspective. Like you say, I have a good, strong technical background, but I had to learn how ISPs route to each other. I didn't know how that worked until VRCDN. I'm learning a lot of new programming languages. I'm learning tons of new concepts. And I think overall it's been incredibly beneficial just for my own career in technology.
I will say what you have built is quite impressive.
Thank you.
Yeah. You mentioned earlier you
Mhm.
DJ'd back in the day. What was it like back when
Yes.
early days when you started DJing,
Oh wow.
clubbing at VRChat at that point? Because I didn't start till 2020, so I don't know what like pre-2020
Oh, you missed
clubbing.
out. Yeah. So in the early days, DJing was, I don't want to say get kept because it wasn't, but there was like, to DJ, the only people who seemed to be DJing were those who came from IRL. So you had people like DeFreeze who, years of experience would always fill a room. And back then, it was very common to do 4 to 6 hour sets because there just wasn't enough DJs to fill an entire event. So you would, for example, with DDVR, you'd have the EU side and the NA side of the event. You'd have the EU DJ to do 4 hours until the Vive ones died, and then the NA DJ would step up and do the next 4 hours. It
Oh,
was
wow.
it was a lot more brutal, but it was a lot more real because that's in real life you're not DJing for an hour or a half hour. You're DJing for hours and hours on end.
Mm.
And I think, at least for me, it was a good way of building endurance and also building knowledge in my library and getting more comfortable very quickly instead of like you DJ for a half hour and then you're done kind of thing.
Hmm. Oh. So what pulled you into DJing back in the day? What was your first iterations and experience with it like?
So I've always want I'm sorry, considering telling a personal story. Back in elementary school, I had a 2 CD player DJ setup. Because it's something I've always been interested in. But the problem is that when you are from the UK and you live in the middle of absolute nowhere, you don't really get the opportunity to really DJ. That's not a career path for you because it doesn't exist in the middle of nowhere. Um, and it wasn't until I started seeing it in VR, I'm like, oh, this is suddenly a thing I can pursue. So I did. And thankfully, I managed to get in with DDVR and a few other communities, VRCPC. And yeah, it kind of kickstarted my, I guess now 6 year. What year is it? Yeah, 6 year DJ career. Sorry, it's 2025, isn't it? Look, it's been a rough year, okay?
I can only
No, that's
imagine
okay. It's okay.
running VRCDN and
Yeah.
everything else you're up to. I can only imagine it's been a long year.
To be fair, these days the VRCDN runs itself, which is good because we have over 2,000 users plus all their viewers,
Mm.
and there's 3 of us, and we can't sit there and watch it all day every day. It's not possible. But it is good because it allows us to do things like work on the upcoming 1.5 and the upcoming 2.0 updates, which are huge and really taking a lot of time. But we want to put every minute we can into it to make sure it's really polished and it's really how we want it to be. And moving from the duct tape and dreamer build to what we currently have, it was very rushed. We were, I'm not gonna lie. It's functional, everything is there, everything is stable, but the control panel could use some TLC. It doesn't look great, And there's a few internal things that we've been reworking behind the scenes, just to make our lives a bit easier. But we had to do it because if we relied on duct tape as a dreams and didn't step up and make everything production ready on a mass scale like we did, it would have fallen over. Which caused many sleepless nights for me at the time, but yeah. Oh, 2021 was rough.
Oh, I can only imagine what it was like at the start of COVID when everyone was coming into VR chat. Everyone was clubbing and doing their thing at that time. I can only imagine what hell you went through.
I mean, in 2020, I was still, learning the tech and learning how to actually build VRCDN. And it wasn't until late 2020 when when I actually got it working properly. And then 2021 was a proving ground, and then it skyrocketed from there.
Oh. So what was it like for running VRCDN during COVID times when everyone was living online?
Honestly, scary. And stressful because, as I alluded to earlier, it went from being a small project in my apartment to suddenly this big global thing, and I have to essentially split my life between my day job and also running a 24/7 global network. It was challenging, you know. There was a lot of sleepless nights due to stress. There was a lot of times where I'd literally sit there and just go, "This isn't gonna work. This is everything's gonna fall down. This isn't gonna work." But like, you know, thankfully, the community backed me, and I managed to build up a team, and eventually the stresses went away entirely. And now, like, you know, I'm not even staring at the graphs like I used to. Normally, I'd have like a million overlays full of graphs, but like, because I just trust it, and if something goes wrong, it DMs me on Discord and be like, "Hey, fix me, I'm broken."
Oh. After everything you've gone through, how do you feel looking back at what you've built?
Oh, I'm immensely proud. You know, it was a very difficult time, but nothing worth doing is nothing not worth doing. What's the saying? I forget the saying. Basically, it's worth doing because it's difficult and it's a challenge. And you know, I couldn't be prouder of the all-nighters and sometimes, you know, week-long sprints that we had to do to make sure everything was running. And you know, when we getting groups like Shelter on board, you know, that was terrifying because Shelter's huge, and obviously Cypher's also huge, and then we hosted VRChat New Year's, also huge, and it's just like things just kept escalating. But I
Oh.
couldn't be more proud of what we've done and what we've achieved, and I couldn't thank the community enough for believing in us and supporting us, even when we actually had servers catch fire a couple of years ago.
Oh. I hope everything's all right.
Oh yeah, they were. But I remember, I think it was like a Tuesday night or something. It was like 1 a.m. my time. I was just getting to bed, and I got a message from someone going, "Hey, VRCDN's on fire," and I'm like, "Yeah, I know, it's great, isn't it?" And they're like, "No, no, no, it's on fire," and I'm like, "What?" It's like, what do I do?
God.
Oh.
Yeah, I think for 24 hours or something, a data center in France that we were hosting through caught fire, and we had no EU service for a while. And you know, that was a other than a terrifying experience, because what do you do when your server's on fire? It was a huge learning curve for us, because obviously it meant that, okay, we can deploy a server, but we need redundancy. We need to make sure that if suddenly we lose power or we lose a server to whatever, we need to make sure VRCDN doesn't die. And it's really changed. Well, I mean, it's really changed how we think about everything. Because suddenly, redundancy is something you should always do, but redundancy is expensive, and we don't exactly have a lot of money to work from because we have Patreon, and that's about it. And you know, we're charging £2 a month, which isn't exactly a lot of money. But you know, it meant that we had to be very clever in how we do redundancy and how we do what's called high availability. And it's meant that we've managed to invent some really interesting solutions. Which, you know, usually you'd pay thousands and thousands of dollars for a month to some big companies do for you, but like, you know, we don't have that, so we have to do it ourselves. And it not only meant that we can keep our prices low as possible, but it also meant we learned a new thing. And learning is cool because it means we can apply that to future things.
Okay. So when you were dealing with the process of learning new things in order to provide things to be low, what was the VRChat's reception and how did you handle it?
So VRChat, it was very difficult for them to understand, like, things aren't free. I mean, we saw it recently when we increased the lowest tier from £1 to £2, and we had huge backlash because of it. And we're like, if you knew how much it actually cost to run, we didn't publicize numbers because then people start going, "Oh, why don't you do this? Why don't you do that?" And it's like, it's more of a conversation for us to deal with, so we don't do that. But you know, people were outraged, like, "Why are you increasing your prices?" Like, and I'm just sat there like, you it's expensive. Like, if we want to scale up, it costs us more money, not less. Like, you know, we have to draw the line somewhere. And as difficult as it was, you know, we thankfully, well, people still believed in us and kept backing us, and we ended up better for it. But yeah, no, originally the VRChat player is very much against paying for something that, you know, Twitch is free, and we understand that, and Twitch will always be an option, and not one that we're going to be against. But you know, I don't want to sound egotistical and say you get what you pay for, but you get what you pay for with us.
That's a very much of understandable option. Understandable statement.
Mm-hmm.
Free thing, nothing out there that's free is always free. You're always paying for it somewhere else in the line.
Exactly. With Twitch is ads that love to now sneaking during mid streams, even in VRChat, which is even for like even I go to Club, for example, and I wait 15 seconds for Twitch to show me an ad, and then I can listen to DJ for a minute, and then there's a Twitch ad, and it's just like you got like you say, you gotta pay somewhere, and if paying means interruptions, then I don't want it.
Fair. I can very much understand that. With other platforms, has anyone taken notice of VRCDN?
I mean, obviously VRChat has waitlisted us. Thank you, VRChat. That was really good, nice of you to do. It means that we can keep people safe, because untrusted URLs is actually a bigger security risk than people might think.
Oh.
Yeah, I won't go into that as a technical conversation.
Hmm.
But we've also we've hosted stuff for Nissan, which was bizarre to us. We wasn't expecting that. Can I say that? Yeah, I can say that. Yeah, I can probably say that. We've hosted stuff for quite a lot of big companies that we wasn't ever expecting to do. There was a playhouse a while ago that was mixing real estate performances with VR stage performances and AI and all the rest of it, and that was cool to see. And again, wasn't expecting to host that either, but we're doing a lot of cool stuff. VR portals, festivals and conventions. That's cool.
Oh.
I wasn't expecting such a big boom from that, but we see loads of them now.
Oh.
And it's really cool that we're able to provide a real-time conversation interaction between, I guess, two realities. It's a really novel thing to see, especially when you see it in person. I've been on the VR side and the real life side when I was at ShelterCon last year, and it is really, really cool to see.
Oh, are you referring to the VR portals that you like Virality ran, for an example?
Yes.
Oh, so
Yes.
that's VRCDN powered then.
I don't know
Things
if we
like
do the
it.
Ferrari ones, because I know they do their own streaming stuff. But Magfest we usually host. I think we're doing some fairy conventions at the minute. I would have to double check. Because and obviously we do the Shelter one as well. I think we do a ton of others.
Oh, so what was the first large group that started using VRCDN, and how did you feel about being adopted
Slyfest.
by them? Slyfest.
It was Slyfest in 2020 October. It was the very first Slyfest event. And honestly, I remember I was when they asked to use the VRCDN at that stage. I was like, sure, whatever. Because back then VRCDN didn't cost anything. It was actually called VR Web Stream. It wasn't going to become a big global thing. It was supposed to be just a small project. And I'd just got audio working 2 weeks before, and the latency was like working to a point where I was happy with for that era of the project. And I remember the comment types come to me and be like, hey, we're having trouble with Twitch, can we use VRCDN via Web Stream? And I'm like, sure, whatever. Here's how you set it up, here's how you SDK to prefab messing about, blah blah. And I was I didn't think anything else of it. I just let them do it. And next thing I know, I'm DJing, and I have the monitoring up for the servers, and it goes like 50 viewers, 100 viewers, 200 viewers, 300 viewers, and I'm like, oh, what is going on? Like, this isn't expected at all. Turns out they had Slushy performing, and I'm like, oh, okay, what? I've been following Slushy's music since I was in high school, I think. So to see them perform a thing that I'm hosting was insane to me. And I had to, as soon as I finished my DJing, take the heads off, sit on the keyboard, and try and figure out if we're going to survive this. And thankfully, we did. And the rest is kind of history from there.
Oh, wow. So from there, what were some of the other events that surprised you of when you were becoming a growing company?
Ooh, definitely being asked to host VRChat New Year's. Because we hosted 2021, 2022, and 2022, 2023. That was huge for us because, at that point we were confident in our tech, but we never pushed it that far. And thankfully, we were And I want to say lucky, but I also remember like the week before of just stress and like making like panic checking everything to make sure it still works, even though we know it does. Uh, but yeah, we're definitely lucky for them to trust us with something as big as VRChat New Year's. And that I still can't get over because it still to this day is the furthest we pushed our network.
Oh wow.
And sadly, I can't give numbers because client confidentiality and all that.
Of course.
But it was a lot. it was a lot.
I can only imagine. I know VRChat was a
Mm.
couple years ago had like 104,000 concurrent users, 105,000 recently with it.
Oh
with New
no,
Year's.
that was recent. That was like in the last week or so.
Oh,
That was recently.
oh, oh. So I do have one question for you that's kind of stream based within VRChat. When someone has a stream up like VRCDN or Twitch, and there's like 12 people in the room watching a stream, how does that count towards the views or viewers?
Oh, good question. So if you if the world player is streaming the VRCDN stream, then it's 12 viewers to your VRCDN account.
Oh,
We don't forward those viewers to Twitch. So unless you actually have viewers on your Twitch, either through the stream player having your Twitch URL in or people being on your Twitch webpage, those viewers will just count to VRCDN.
oh wow. So it's able to tell the difference between each individual account in VRChat watching the stream.
Sure, because we're just checking how many people are watching that particular URL. Because obviously every stream has their own unique URL, so we just check how many connections we have to that.
Oh, I had no idea things like that worked that way. I always figured it'd be like one stream
I
going.
mean, things do.
Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, if no, I interrupted, my bad. But no, the thing with VRCDN, because we wrote all the code from scratch, if we want a thing, we just build it in, which has allowed us to be incredibly flexible with our apps and with our network as a whole. And it's been really fun to kind of tweak and build new things and to even the viewer thing. We have to very, very quickly get your viewers from every server that we have around the world and then tally them and then give them presentable on the control panel. And we have to do that very quickly, which doesn't sound like a lot of work, but actually it is.
Oh.
But yeah.
Oh.
It allows us to give a lot of personal data to the user on the control panel. How many viewers they have. We have historical graphs that they can view, and it's like we have a lot of cool things we're slowly adding and tweaking and things.
Oh, that's actually really awesome to know. I appreciate you explaining that. I had no idea.
Oh,
Before,
no worries.
I always figured it'd be like one stream going, one view.
No. We're very good at splitting viewers per stream, and also like a lot of internal diagnostic things that we will hopefully be displaying to the user in our 2.0 update when we add a lot more stream diagnostics, so people can properly see, if their stream health, if they're having issues, if they're not having issues, blah blah blah.
Okay.
It's really cool.
So, as another question as well, what are some working on a platform that's VR centric? What are some uniquely problems with VR or bonuses to VR centric platforms like VRCDN?
Oh, I mean, the biggest issue will be AVPro. AVPro is the underlying library that VRChat and a few other VR platforms use to stream video content. AVPro is a nightmare to work with, I won't lie. The hardest part of first building VRCDN, other than making sure it runs at scale, was making it work with AVPro. Because we'd have VLC, it would work fine. We'd have various other streaming applications that work fine. You go to AVPro and it would just die. And it was just like, why? And then you ask AVPro, like, why does this not work? And it would just go, max resolution or stream not found. Like, what does that mean? But yeah, as for uniquenesses, I mean, we've seen a lot of unique use cases. I mean, obviously the VR portals were quite a unique one as well. Things like streaming data through video streams, like DMX, for example. That was really interesting. I wasn't expecting that to ever be a thing people needed or wanted, but here we are. We now have a entire group of LDs who can now use physical hardware to control virtual lighting, which is insane to me. Have you seen? There's a thing called oh, it's gonna bug me. Shade immersion.
I
Have you seen
I've
it
heard
before?
I've heard the term before, but I don't think I've had it
Shade
explained.
immersion.
It's made by someone called Locks, and it is insane. Basically, it's a udon-based mocap system for
Hmm.
any player. It turns it into like this colorful pixel grid that if you stream through VRCDN or Twitch or whatever, you can then map that motion data back onto a 3D model
Oh.
and basically puppet 3D models, and they've been used for things like Slyfest to have the DJ in every instance, because you mocap the DJ in the main instance, then stream them into every other, and there'll be this 3D model in world moving around. It's I've had it happen to me a few times when I played for Slyfest, and it's still really crazy to see me, but also me.
Oh. Actually, now that I think about it, now that Cyrix's show, when we had Cyrix on, I explained it as well. And in terms of people using media players for interesting things, we were talking with Crazium Games, and he was explaining to us that through media players, you can do lots of weird things with servers as well, like how he runs his this world will be deleted in 24 hours. How you push a button, it'll send
Yes.
a note to a server.
Yeah, I'm familiar with that world. I've hit the button many times.
I'm sorry.
I'm the one where we get to like like the 23 hours and I'm hit the button.
What the red button is always everyone's favorite thing. No matter how old you
It's
are,
a big
where you
red
are in the play.
I like a big red button. Okay,
Yeah.
Everyone loves big red
the
buttons.
thing is that the thing is I want to see the rest of the world. I want to see and I heard there's a lot of like detail and events that happen in the world the longer it stays online and the closer it gets to shutting down, but I can't. I like to preserve things. So when it comes to knowing that if I wait too long the world will disappear, I don't like that.
It's stressful.
I want to keep it online.
Well, funny thing is through some of the posts that Crazy has posted and our conversation, he's adding more things to the world to incentivize waiting.
Mm-hmm. Oh no. It's going to be like a willpower test, isn't it? Oh no.
Will anyone ever see the stuff near the end of the wait time? That is the question.
No.
I wouldn't let them know. I'm sorry, the world stays online.
So do you check that world regularly?
Not as often as I should do. Because sadly I've been a little too busy to, really explore worlds like I used to. But I do get onto it whenever I can and hit the button just to annoy people.
So, from back in the day when you were playing VRChat, what are some memorable moments from you that stuck with you as a player?
Ooh, good question. I'm gonna have to really think about this one. I mean, to go back to Slyfest 2020, when the very last set played, and I was in the staff instance surrounded by people, and VRCDN had survived, and the build of the software that I wrote for it, I couldn't really trust it, and it managed to survive. That was a big moment for me. There was another time when I was testing it, and I was testing low latency syncing. So everyone has the same latency around the world. And the server, it was a Just Party, a EU group. And the server crashed midway through, and I remember everyone turning around and looking at me in the back room and just went.
But they did it in sync.
And I was like, it's working, but it crashed, but it works. That was a really funny moment.
I can only imagine it must have been very stressful at that moment as well.
I mean, I told them it was a proof of concept, and it was like, if it crashes, cool, everyone's aware it's a test. And the benefits of low latency and the having the DJ interaction again, outweighs the cons. And yeah, that crash is still memorable to me. The thing is, to this day, I don't even know why it crashed. It just did.
Oh.
Yeah, it crashed. I restarted it, and it was fine ever since. And I still don't know why it crashed.
Oh well.
Well, if it ain't broke.
Yeah, but it was broke. I mean, to be fair, we've rewritten everything since then anyway, so like that issue's long gone. I hope. Fingers
Hmm.
crossed. But yeah.
Fair enough. So, what was one of some of the most surprising moments for you, either as a player or as VRCDN within VRChat? And
I think most surprising is being taken seriously. So so even though I used to be a European technical lead here at my day job, I was never taken seriously because I'm in tech. It doesn't happen. So to be taken seriously in VR for my technical knowledge was very surprising to me,
Hmm.
and very nice. Cause like instead of being like you're wrong, what you're saying is dumb and blah blah blah, it was like yeah that makes sense, and I'm like does it? And they're like yeah, and I'm like are you sure? But it took a lot of building the confidence up again to really push my skills and knowledge in projects. But it was nice that VR gave me that. 'Cause it's not something I've had before.
Hmm. What was most surprising about being taken seriously for your knowledge?
Whoa, 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 whoa. Hi, folks. You folks come and join us on our social and on our Discord. We would love to see you there. We have a Patreon, and we have 2 people that have signed on, Training Fangs and Zero. And I hope we get to see you there, folks. We appreciate the time and effort that you make. And my ball's getting out of here because it needs new rubber. Bye.
I mean, it's never happened before.
Oh.
Even in my higher role at my day job, it doesn't happen. Even now, it doesn't happen. So that's for it to happen in VR all the time, regardless of who I'm around. It's nice. It's freeing. It's confidence boosting. I want to say liberating almost, because it means that if I have an idea and I can prove that I can build it, people will take it seriously instead of going yeah whatever, which is what I normally get.
Okay. Is your day job aware of VRCDN and that you run it?
Yes, because VRCDN is a registered company here in the UK, so legally they had to know. They wasn't too happy that I had found somewhere where I could express my, really stretch my technical legs, shall we say.
Mm.
And they're continuing to not be happy with that, but that's their problem. I'm past caring about them, to be honest.
Well, to be honest, you're now running a streaming company as well. That's amazing, especially since you pulled it out of nothing. So congratulations and kudos to you.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Yeah, we pay taxes and everything. It's great.
Oh, so is there anything that took some learning from you and for the company side of things, not the technical?
I mean, I did study business in college, even though I dropped out after a year. So I had a baseline understanding of how running a business works. But the thing for me is I've worked in traditional companies, all my life, and the thing that I see all the time is you have essentially a dictatorship of management, and whatever they say goes, even if it makes no sense, and even if you tell them it doesn't make any sense. Their word is law. You do what they tell you to do, how you tell them to do, and when it goes wrong, it's your fault. So the biggest thing for me was understanding that this doesn't work. So with VRCDN, yeah, I could do it as a dictatorship, and I could command my team to do my bidding how I see fit. But I don't know everything. I'm never gonna know everything. Clue might know something I don't. 24 might know something I don't. And learning to essentially let people into my baby, essentially. This is something that I've only done on I've only ever done on myself, letting people in and allowing them to make decisions and understanding that what they're saying makes a lot more sense than I do sometimes, it was a huge learning curve for me. I mean, for the first few months of Clue working on the project, he didn't have any access to any source code, and he was hired to write code. It took a lot of trusting, but we got there in the end, and we're much better for it.
So the letting people in part was a
letting
learning
people
thing
in.
for you.
Yeah, sorry, I tangent everything. I'm very good at tangenting.
What was the moment like where you let that first person in to work on your child?
It was terrifying. It was terrifying because, like, essentially what I had was unique at the time. You know, the only other software that could do what VRCDN software was doing at the time, you know, cost thousands of dollars. And it was scary to essentially go, here's all of my secrets.
Mm.
It took a lot of trusting in Clue, but Clue has stepped up and proven himself in Service 24. You know, that they take this project as seriously as I do. And you know, after a while, it became just comfortable, and I would just, we now all have access to everything because we need to keep it running smoothly.
Mm.
But yeah, it was difficult at first.
Oh.
I remember because Clue was brought on because his programming knowledge massively outweighs mine, and I remember talking to my dad at the time, and I was like, I was describing Clue to him, and I remember my dad saying, "If he can pull this off, he's worth his weight in beans," and I'm like, "What does that even mean?" But yeah, he is worth his weight in beans. He's they both have, they really stepped up and pushed his project way further than I ever could have done. And that wouldn't have happened if I didn't let them in and trust them to not run away and steal all my code.
So, what are some things for people to bear in mind if they're in a similar situation to that, like letting people in and taking over a project?
It's difficult because you see it time and time again, especially in the VR scene, sadly, where for example, a club opens a Patreon that one person in the club management controls, and the idea is that they'll split the income. It never happens, and drama happens, blah blah. But you see it all the time. Trust in this community is, I think, at an all-time low for a lot of people, and the best thing to do is just to really vet people, really push them to prove that they are willing to fight tooth and nail for this project. And I think that's the only way you can build trust with people. Because especially with something like VRCDN, it's such a crucial thing. And at any point, I could shut it down. Clue could shut it down. 24 could shut it down. We can, it's like it's like a missile. 3 keys are needed to kind of turn it off, kind of thing. But again, at any point, we could throw this all under the bus. And it's a very scary thought, and that's why you have to really vet them and really trust them and really make sure they are who they say they are. And they're going to do what they say they're going to do. And only then can you really trust people. I think. And that sounds really horrible, but like, if your project's going to go anywhere and you're serious about it, you have to make sure people aren't going to walk all over it.
No, it's not horrible. It makes a lot of sense, especially with the VR mindset of things. There are people who take things seriously. I'm going to use projects, clubs, for example. There are those who do it because they're very much so enjoy it and it's something they want to do. And then there are those who treat it like a game. It's VRchat's a game. It's not serious. So those two different types of people, trust is a very important thing, and I very much understand that.
Very true. Yeah, it is. It is the interesting to see, people do treat VR as a game, and people do treat it as a I guess it's a platform, whether it be a creative platform or a platform to build your project on, or etc. And it's understanding that we will always have this divide, even though it's not really a divide, because obviously we cross over all the time. But when it comes down to when we get down to business, you have to see that divide. Which.
So, how did you meet the two employees that you've mentioned here as well?
Oh, I'll start with 24 I've known for a while because he was DJing the scene when I was back in the day. And I always knew he was a programmer, and he did help me out with things I got stuck with in the early days, but he never officially joined the team until much later. Clue, on the other hand, he had the most anime protagonist join I have ever seen. I've told this story a few times now, but I'll never get sick of telling it. Basically, Cyber 2020 happened. It was on Twitch. Clue found the Twitch stream and was like, "This is interesting." After not knowing what VRChat was, or VR was. So he downloaded VRChat, joined the world, dug into the world to find the stream URL, noticed it was VRCDN, joined the Patreon, messaged me on Discord and was like, "You need a programmer," and I'm like, "Who the heck are you?" And he was like, "Oh, here's my credentials. This is my programming history. I can do this. I can do that. I can do blah blah blah." And his resume was really impressive, and I'm like, "This is all well and good, but you literally came out of nowhere. It's gonna take me a while to seriously consider your offer." So he was like, "Well, I'll prove it." And he made a GitHub repository where he gave me access to it. And he was like, "I'm going to rewrite your entire server. And I'm going to keep all the source code visible for you to prove that I can do it."
Mm.
And in 2 weeks, he had done it. And I'm just sat there going, who does that? And I'm like, because originally, my Duct Tape and Dreams builder was like half of the app was over here, half it was over here, and it did this and that, and it was a mess. And then his was just one app, and it just did everything. And I'm like, I'm reading through it, and I'm like, this is actually really impressive. This is a lot better than I can do.
Mm.
And we ended up agreeing terms, and he was brought on.
Wow.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure well, I don't think he regrets it, but there's definitely times where he's been like, "Why am I doing this?" I'm sure. But no, when for when 24 joined, he has, we've always been like talking, I've always known he had a keen interest in programming, and I knew that he was interested in joining the team, but at the time, I wanted to keep it small and I wanted to keep it reasonably manageable because I'm I had managerial experience, but I'm not the greatest at it. I'm gonna be real. And I didn't want a massive team that I then had to manage. I wanted to keep it small and easy to maintain. And at the time, I didn't have a role for him. And then was it 2021? I think it was. I had a meeting with Slifer. Slifer's going to come up a lot, but I had a meeting with the Slifer team again. And they were saying that, "Oh, we have we have all these instances, we have all these people, I have to add 1,000 people, 2,000 people. And my friends list is ridiculous." And I'm sat there going, I wonder if bots could be a thing. And I messaged 24 and I was like, "Hey, weird question. VRChat bots, how feasible are we talking?" Because I knew he might have dabbled in things that I won't go into, in fear of saying things I shouldn't. And he was like, "I'll have a look." And the next day, he sends me a full working prototype, and I'm like, "Well, I guess you're making bots for us now." And he joined the team. And, them bots were, I don't want to say revolutionary, but like they opened up a lot of new events to wider audiences. If you saw the bot online, you knew it was hosting something, and we never gatekeeped who could run the bot. It was always first come, first serve. And it never cost any money to anyone. You never had to be on the Patreon. You never had to do anything. It was just a case of join our Discord, say I want a bot at this date, and if they were free, it was yours. Yeah, and then I think we had some really cool tech in there as well. Like we had queues with priority before the VRChat had queues with priority. Like that was pretty big for us. And pretty big for a lot of groups because like obviously Shelter got on board with them, and they fill 5 instances within a few minutes. So our bots not only had to figure out how to move players between the instances as soon as a free slot was available, but also queue and manage the queue and keep the queue. And we put a lot of time and effort into them, and they were really cool. But realistically, with the VRChat groups, it was a lot more accessible than what we were doing. And I wouldn't say I'm happy to see the bots gone. I enjoy working on them, but it gives us more time to focus on VRCDN itself and not a side project, essentially.
So back when people were requesting bots, what made you want to include that kind of thing with VRCDN?
So the thing is that because the community backs us, entirely for Patreon, where we're thinking of new ways of what can we do as programmers and technically minded people, what can we do to give back? And And the bots is one of those things where it's like, we have a good contact with VRChat, so we can ask for permission, and if they allow it, we can do this kind of thing. We have the technical know-how to do it. We have the resources to do it, and because of Patreon, it covers the cost, so we don't need to charge anyone. But it's just this notion of if we can give back, we will, and we always try to. And that's something that I think is always going to stick with the team, because you're kind of ingrained in it at this point. They've trusted us and backed us so much. It's only fair that we do what we can to give back.
Okay. So with back to the pulling employees out of VRChat kind of mindset, what were some of the things that you as an employer look for in the people wanting to give help or go on board?
Dedication and willing to learn, and not being I don't want to say not sticking to the 9 to 5, because obviously everyone needs a rest, everyone needs downtime, but with a service like this, you will get called at 2 in the morning to go, everything's exploded, we need you now, and you have to be willing to get up and deal with it. So obviously passion is a big thing as well. And we're to learn, because there's a lot of new tech, and we're building and learning new concepts almost every week at this point. And there is a steep learning curve, not just in what we do, but VRCDN as a service and as a product. So yeah, definitely willing to learn, passion, dedication, and just having fun with it. As seriously as it sounds and as stressful as it sounds, is a very rewarding project. As I mentioned earlier, we had the three of us, me, Clone 24, had the pleasure of going to ShelterCon IRL last year, and it's still surreal how many people were like, "Oh, we love VRCDN, we appreciate what we do." Like, that moment very much made the project feel more real, because you can see it on a screen, you can see it in a headset, but it's still not the same as being in the same room full of people who are enjoying the work that you do. It's very, very rewarding.
I can only imagine how you felt in that moment, seeing all those people actually have faces instead of a virtual 3D model.
Yeah, it was overwhelming a little bit, I won't lie, but it was good. And we got to give out stickers. We want more physical VRCDN stuff. I want some merch. I might hint merch. And giving out stickers and having something tangible that people could hold was very nice. And we do have I'm hoping to do another US trip, and maybe an Asia trip sometime next year. But we will have more unique stickers to give out, and possibly other things, but we'll see.
So as a company as well that works within like the VR and the metaverse and VRChat, what is it like trying to keep up with technology in terms of like the evolving metaverse side of things as well?
So we're in a unique position where we don't really need to. Because we're essentially a service provider, like Twitch, like YouTube. We just provide the content. It's up to the VR platforms to support us, not the other way around. So for us, we don't really need to worry about that. Obviously, we stay up to date. We have quests to make sure we're still quest compatible, kind of thing. We're not just relying on our indexes. But we're not delving into buying Apple Pros or whatever it's called, the headset Pro thing. I forget the name of. Vision Pro, is that it?
Vision Pro?
Yeah.
The Apple Vision Pro.
Yeah, the Apple Vision Pro. Yeah, it's like we're not gonna go out and spring $4,000 and getting one of them, because we don't need one. But the tech that we're also using is kind of outdated. So like in terms of the protocols we're using, they're all designed in the 90s, so we don't really need to worry too much about staying up to date. But like, obviously, we're looking into some other newer protocols and things like that. But when it comes to keeping up with the VR space, we don't really need to.
Okay.
We still do. We keep track of all the platforms, but like, we don't need to really, dedicate our lives to keeping up to date.
Fair enough. You did say earlier that you're Quest compatible. Was that an easy endeavor to
Yeah.
do in the beginning?
Funny story. So before we had a Quest in the hands of the team, we theorized it would work, and we added MPEG streaming, which would be Quest and PC VR compatible with slightly higher latency. And every time someone asked us, "Hey, does this work on Quest?" we went, "In theory, but we don't know." And then we went out. We got a Quest 2. I put it on. I loaded Winter Company, I think, and I got a stream URL. I punched it in, and it worked. And I was like, "Oh, that was easy." It saves a lot of hassle.
Oh, did you expect to work at that fluidly?
I mean, we're very good at theory, but theory isn't practice.
Mm.
And we're very much in the mindset of if it works in theory, that doesn't mean it works. We need to see it and prove it working. And to see it and prove it work first time was a relief, but also like, well, now what do I do? Like,
Yeah.
but I planned the whole day to fix this, and I don't need to do anything.
Well, in terms of like the Quest user base in VRChat, I'm sure it is a very appreciated thing to be able to be included in the activities of PC users,
yeah.
clubbing included.
Yeah, I'm sure. You know, the Quest is, I believe, the most used headset right now.
Really?
Don't quote me on that. I don't have the figures in front of me. But I'm not saying in VRChat. I'm saying it like as a whole. So having that mass support, being able to support essentially any headset now, you know, it's good to, what's the word? Make sure you're covering the whole market, especially from a business standpoint. You know, you don't want to limit yourself to a niche within a niche within a niche. You know, index users in VR chat on a VR headset. You know, it's a niche and a niche and a niche. So you want to eliminate as many niches as possible. And I think with Quest support we did that, I think.
Okay. Is VRChat the biggest platform that uses VRCDN, or are there others as well?
There are others. I do believe most of our traffic comes from VRChat, but I don't have the numbers to back it up.
Okay. Fair enough. I was just curious if like
No, you're right to be curious. And if I had the numbers, I would tell you. But we have some very fun things like the Data Protection Act here in the UK, which is like GDPR but worse. So the amount of data we can collect for analytics is very limiting. Which is good for the user because it means we're going to get what we really, 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 really need and legally can obtain. It's a little bad for us because we can't say, "Oh, you're lying. You're watching through whatever country you're in, and you're watching through VRChat." You know, we can't do that.
Okay. So when you collect data, what kinds of things are you looking for, may I ask?
This is a legal question. You'd have to.
Sorry.
I'm not a legal expert. No worries. I'm just saying.
Asking stuff you ain't supposed to. What the hell wrong with you?
No. It's a valid question. It's a valid question. I would prefer to answer it if I had our legal agreements in front of me, which I sadly don't. But you can view all the data we collect through our terms of service and our other legal documents on our website. And we actually had the legal person we hired to write this, they did something very cool, which I really appreciate, where we have the legal jargon that no one can read, let's be real, and then we have in block capitals the human readable version, which means that you don't need a legal degree to actually know what you're agreeing to, which is huge for us because transparency is something that not a lot of companies do, and it's a big thing for us to focus on. So you know we know exactly what we're doing with all the legal stuff just by reading the block capitals, which is, you know, huge. But in terms of data collection, we only collect what we need and store for as long as we need to. And as soon as it's not useful anymore, it's gone.
Okay. Well, that's at least good to know. Sorry to put you in a weird, funny legal spot of what can I answer or not answer.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah.
No worries. Like I said, I'd love to answer, but I'm not a legal expert. I don't want to say the wrong thing. Like.
Well, as I said before the show, I don't want you to get into any trouble. I'm just asking questions as I get curious to ask them. Sometimes they're going to be difficult, and sometimes they're very brain dead.
Yeah, no worries, no worries. Yeah, no, like I said, that is a very good question. You should always know what data companies have on you. That's you should just always know.
Mm.
One thing I will say is that there is a button on our ID service that anyone can log into, and it's just a big delete button. And when you press that, it deletes everything.
Okay.
We also have a big download button, so you can download all the data we have on you.
Okay.
Which again, transparency. It's a legal requirement, and we wanted to make that as visible as possible for anyone to get to.
Okay. So, what is it like working as a upcoming company, a service provider as well, on a global scale with all those different fun problems every single country has and stuff?
Because we're a registered company here in the UK, we only have to follow UK law, which is great. And there is some drawbacks, like US law is a lot more lenient on copyright, for example. Because there's a thing called safe harbor, which means, and I'm paraphrasing and I'm probably wrong, it means that the ownership of the content and the responsibility of the content streamed by the user is up to the user, not the platform necessarily. We don't have that, so we have to invent really fun things like Dev. Dev is our copyright detection service, where it will actively monitor and suspend people who break copyright law and other laws. Which, we didn't want to do because it's expensive and complicated, but we had to. But other than that, for the majority of time, we just follow UK law because that's where we're registered.
Okay. Well, that must be very de-stressing knowing you don't have to worry about all of those different laws in the different countries.
We do have the legal people that we get advice from have been very good and been very helpful at being like, you have to add things like this very specifically and put it in this spot, and you have to do this and you have to do that, just to make sure we're fully covered. Because the last thing we want is a legal loophole, because those are very scary.
I can only imagine. Back when you first started as like a hopes and dreams project, were you expecting as much legal jargon and legal things to keep in mind?
No. No. I mean, originally I didn't even charge for this. It was just hey, this is a fun thing that I did, But, as the project grew and when it became involved and became a global scale, we had to get legal backing, not just for my protection and my team's protection, but also for the user protection. And to set, proper legal guidelines of, like, various legal stuff that, a company needs. And, as much as we didn't want to, I will say we didn't want to do it because we did. We've always wanted to do it, but it is a huge step. Because as soon as you become a legal entity, suddenly it's a lot bigger than just a small project. It's no longer your project. It's a public, proper, company. Which is a big step. Very scary step, but we've done it now, so.
What was the moment this project and company felt real to you?
It still doesn't. I don't think it will ever feel. What's the word? It still feels like a pipe dream to me. It still feels like it's still running at my apartment on my Raspberry Pis. Like, it doesn't feel like a big global thing. And then I look at our hardware sheet, for example, where I see all the server we're running and how much bandwidth we're using and all that, and how many users we have, and it's just like, these numbers aren't real. This can't be real. But it is. And I think even like, when I traveling to go to all these conventions to meet all of our users and things, I think even with that, it won't feel real to me. I don't think I don't know. It's still, I don't, how about, it's almost as if it doesn't feel tangible even though it is. It's a very weird thing to even consider back then, and it still, to me, I haven't quite got out of the mindset of it can't be a real thing when it is.
What would have to happen for it to feel like a real, tangible product?
I don't think it will. I mean, it could buy me a yacht and a mansion, all the rest of it, and I still think it will feel real.
Understandable. Well,
yeah, I think it boils down to like, you have a day job, you have a 9 to 5, and you blah blah blah. But because VRCDN is such a homegrown project, I don't think it will ever feel like a proper work for me, and therefore it doesn't feel like it's a job, even though it is. Yeah.
You saying that ports me back to a moment about a decade ago. I met an old gentleman in a hospital, and he looked at me and said to me after a short conversation, "If you enjoy what you do, you never work a day in your life." Is that apt?
Oh yeah. Even when stress levels are high and then we have a data center burning down, it still doesn't feel like work. And that's a really weird thing to say out loud, but it's true. Because I think to most people that would be the most stressful scenario. And yeah, it was stressful, but at the same time, it's like, I can deal with this. I have the confidence in the backing to deal with this.
So, harping back to the server fire you mentioned, how did you cope and adapt to that situation for the first time?
Probably not as well as I could have done. Because I essentially, because the data center was on fire, the servers were on fire. There was nothing I could do. I just had to sleep until the morning, contact the data center, and see if I can get any information of like, what's the word? Compensation, because obviously, we were paying money for that server. And things like that. Thankfully, they were very quick to bring us back online in another data center, and they were very quick to compensate us, and that's all well and good. But it's still an outage that could have been avoided.
Okay. So before we start bringing this to a close, I will ask you another question. For those people who are watching who want to work on a project and want it to become a real thing, hopes and dreams, what kind of advice would you give them as?
Ooh, probably don't give up and don't be deterred by the mountain you have to climb to do it, because it is a mountain, and it's scary, and it's a lot of climbing. But once you've reached the top and you've proved that you can do it, and the community around you will be like, oh, that thing that you said you would do, you've actually done. It helps build trust in the community and helps make people believe in what you're doing. Because without I think what I've learned from this community is that without evidence and you proving you can dedicate yourself to doing a thing to its completion, it's very hard to build what's the word, trust in the community. But as soon as you do that, and as soon as you've fought your way through all the battles, it's very rewarding, and then you can make it real, as the hacksmith would say.
Well, thank you very much again for taking the time out of your busy day to speak with us. It's been an absolute pleasure getting to speak with and meet you. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. Oh no, thank you. I appreciate it.
Well, Raptor, as we always close, you know the thing.
Well, folks, like I say in here all the time, a small egg can go scrambled, but if you boil it real hard, it becomes a solid thing. And we got proof here. She's doing it. Anybody can if you set your mind to it. It's just sometimes you might slip, might fall, but you always got friends to pick you back up. And there's a lot of them in here. You take care and have a good day. We'll talk to you later. Bye.